This next fight, this is a battle of two wrestlers right here, Daniel Argueta and Isaac Dulgarian. Daniel Argueta, he has his back against the wall. He probably will be given another fight even with a loss because he took his UFC debut on short notice, but you never want to start 0-2 in the UFC, and he already lost on the Ultimate Fighter as well, so technically he's 0-3 under the UFC banner. And he's accomplished, though. He already won the LFA title. He's 8-1 in his pro career. And in the Octagon, he lost to Damon Jackson, who's ranked in the top 15. So he had a tough fight up a weight class, took that loss. He also lost to Ricky Tercios, but it was an Ultimate Fighter fight, so it's not on his record. But he needs to use that experience now to get the win over a fighter who's never been out of the first round or ever seen anyone on Argueta's caliber staring across from him. So Argueta needs to capitalize, use that experience, and go out there and outwork Isaac Dulgarian. But Isaac Dulgarian, he's finished his first 9 opponents in the first round, 4 as an amateur, 5 as a pro. And I don't want to say Dulgarian took the easy road so far because nothing is easy in the fight game, but he stayed comfortable. He's had all his fights in Missouri where he's based out of. Most of his opponents have not been anything to write home about. He did get a step up in competition and he fought a 7-2 fighter in his last fight, but this is the biggest fight of his life, a former LFA champion in the UFC. And he got caught up a little bit in the storm surrounding James Krause a bit. He was fighting out of Glory MMA, but he's transitioned and now he's fighting at Factory X or training at Factory X for this camp in Colorado. So it should be a good transition. Factory X to me is a similar camp with a coach who has a similar coaching style, kind of that pretty striking. And Mark Montoya and James Krause, they have similar styles. So hopefully it's a smooth transition. And Dulgarian looks like a good prospect here. I mean, he definitely is athletic, and this is the biggest fight of his life, though, so we're going to see if he steps up. But Daniel Argueta, he kind of has a basic style, explosive wrestler, pretty rudimentary striking. On the feet, Argueta is pretty fast. He closes the distance quickly. He uses a low stance. He'll switch stances, come with the lead hook, the rear cross. Sometimes he'll flurry with some looping shots, but his kicks aren't really there. His durability is crazy, but his defense is not good. He can just eat shots like nothing. He has great cardio as well. And in the dirty boxing realm, he does do a decent job landing some short punches, uppercuts, elbows off the clinch breaks. That's probably where Argueta lands his most impactful offensive strike standing. And like I said, though, he's extremely hittable. He loads up on all his shots. A fighter with a good jab, with good shots down the middle with leg kicks that can keep it technical is just going to piece Argueta up. But Daniel Argueta, he's a strong wrestler. He has the cardio to shoot 10-15 times or more in a fight as well. Fast level changes. And once he gets on top, he has good control, good back takes. He has decent rear naked chokes. He isn't a huge submission threat or finishing threat on the ground unless you have weak jiu-jitsu or cardio, but he's solid. And against Ricky Tercios, he did lose the grappling scrambles, ended up getting stuck on bottom and lost the fight that way. His last 2 fights, he spent a lot of time on his back as well. And he tends to come forward and go backward in straight lines. He loops, he overextends. So he does give the entry for the takedowns, and off of his back, he isn't the best. He's willing to work hard to try to work back up to his feet, but he does give his back. He can be controlled. And against Dulgarian, he has to be careful to not get grinded out here. And Isaac Dulgarian, he's still an unknown, really. We haven't really seen much from him. On the feet, he does seem a bit more fluid and clean than Argueta, but I haven't seen him face a fighter that really has thrown much back at him. And he has nice leg kicks. He has a solid jab, pretty good overhand. But he basically uses his hands to get in on takedowns. He's fast. He has fast takedown shots. He's been able to get all his opponents down fairly easily. On top, he transitions effectively. He has a really strong mount. He has a solid ground and pound. You open up submissions with his ground and pound. Good arm triangle. Good rear naked chokes. His cardio hasn't really been tested. He's never really faced adversity either. He's never been out of the first round. And for Daniel Argueta, if anything, he's extremely durable. He's a grinder. And if Dulgarian can just take Argueta out of there early, he's going to be a serious prospect to watch because that would be very impressive. And personally, I'm not very impressed with Argueta. I think that Dulgarian, I like what I see from him against mediocre competition. But it's just Dulgarian is extremely unproven, so it's hard to have any confidence in picking him to win here. Argueta's going to be there. Dulgarian, this is going to be his first true test of his career, and I'm going to pick Argueta here just purely off experience. I think he's going to have the cardio edge. I think he'll get the better of the wrestling exchanges down the stretch, and I think he may be, just a little bit more polished at this point in his career, a little bit more, maybe not even polish is the right word, but just have a little bit more experience going deeper and being in a tough, hard, gritty fight, and I think that's going to be the difference. But I really wouldn't be shocked at all either if Dulgarian goes in there and takes him down and dominates the fight and shows that he's one of the best prospects in the division. So it's a fight that could go either way, but it's a prove-it-to-me fight for Isaac Dulgarian. And this one, I think the over is something that I feel like you could maybe target as well. I think that, with Dulgarian getting a lot of early finishes, it could potentially end up being at a decent number. And I think that Argueta is a very tough guy, hard to get out of there, and he doesn't really necessarily have great finishing upside himself. So I think that the over could potentially be a decent play if you're looking to bet on this fight. But for my official pick, I'm going to pick Dan Argueta to win by decision.